Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the SMA Victor Podcast.
Hey there, Victor.
Let's get right into today's episode. I keep forgetting that they ended up changing ChatGPT's feature here. Today we are going to be discussing, I'm glad you checked this. Today we are going to be going over how breakthroughs are redefining SMA diagnosis and care. And today we will be having ChatGPT as our co-host joining us here today within today's episode. Let's get right into it. So it says, breakthroughs in spinal muscular atrophy, diagnosis and care have redefined the disease's outlook, shifting it from a rapidly fatal condition to a manageable one with the potential for normal motor development, primarily through universal newborn screening and the advent of disease-modifying therapies like gene replacement and SMN-modifying drugs.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. So welcome everyone to today's episode. We're going to be talking all about how breakthroughs are literally redefining the way we think about SMA diagnosis and care. And yep, I'm here co-hosting alongside you as ChatGPT. Basically, it's really cool to see how what used to be a very daunting diagnosis is now becoming something a lot more manageable. Thanks to things like newborn screening and these new disease-modifying therapies, we're seeing a shift from something that was once rapidly fatal to something that offers hope for more normal motor development. Let's get into all the details.
So ChatGPT, really quick before we really get into today's episode, for the audience that are unfamiliar with what does it mean for newborn screening, can you break that down?
Absolutely. So for anyone who might not be familiar, newborn screening is basically a test that's done shortly after a baby is born to check for certain genetic or metabolic conditions. And in this case, SMA is one of those conditions. The idea is to catch it early so that if a baby does have SMA, doctors and parents can start treatment as soon as possible. And that early start can make a huge difference in how the condition progresses. So that's really what we're talking about when we say newborn screening. It's basically a proactive step to get ahead of SMA right from the start.
It says redefine diagnosis. The key breakthrough in diagnosis is the widespread adoption of universal newborn screening for SMA. Early detection. In the past, diagnosis typically occurred after symptoms appeared, often around 2 to 6 months of age for the most severe type. Now, most babies with SMA are diagnosed within the first week or two of life, often before symptoms even begin. So ChatGPT, what exactly does this mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break that down. So basically what that means is in the past, doctors would only figure out that a baby had SMA after the baby started showing symptoms. That could be a couple of months in, especially for the more severe types of SMA. Now, because universal newborn screening is becoming the norm, a lot of babies are getting diagnosed within the first week or two of life, way before any symptoms even show up. So it means that doctors can jump in with treatments super early and really change the course of how the condition progresses. It's a huge shift from waiting for symptoms to appear to actually getting ahead of the game right from the start.
And it says preventative treatments. This early detection allows for pre-symptomatic treatment, which is critical because motor neuron damage caused by SMA cannot be reversed once it occurs. Early intervention has led to significantly improved outcomes, allowing many infants to reach developmental milestones that were previously impossible, such as walking and sitting independently.
Exactly. And that's really the big deal here. So because we're catching SMA so early now, doctors can start treating babies before those motor neurons get damaged. And that's huge because once those neurons are damaged, you can't really reverse that damage. So early intervention is like giving these kids a head start, allowing them to hit developmental milestones that used to be out of reach, like sitting up on their own or even walking. It's really changing the whole game for what's possible.
And it says the treatment landscape has been transformed by several FDA-approved disease-modifying therapies that address the genetic root cause of SMA, a missing or malfunctioning SMN1 gene, and the function of the backup SMN2 gene. So gene replacement therapies include such as Zolgensma, recently approved as Zolgensma, and actually we just talked about this episode. Sorry, it threw me off because it's new. We actually just made an episode talking about this at the time of you were seeing this 3 days ago. So Zolgensma, recently approved as Invisma for older patients, is a one-time intravenous infusion that delivers a functional copy of the SMN gene to motor neuron cells when administered early. This therapy offers the potential for normal motor outcomes and a dramatically improved quality of life.
Yeah, exactly. So, just to kind of summarize that in a simpler way, what we're seeing now is a whole new landscape of treatments. And yeah, we did just talk about Zolgensma, which is now being called Invezma for some older patients. It's basically a one-time infusion that gives those motor neuron cells the working copy of the gene they need. And when you catch it early, it can really transform the child's quality of life. Instead of just managing symptoms, you're actually giving them a shot at a much more typical developmental path. So it's a really big leap forward in terms of what these kids can achieve.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, ChatGPT, because that threw me off for a second. Because Zolgensma is its own medication, and then this new medication, which was Intavisma. So are they now essentially making Zolgensma godfathered?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it can be a little confusing with the name changes. Just to clarify, Zolgensma is still its own well-known gene therapy. What's happening is that there's a new version or an extension of that therapy that's being introduced under a different brand name, like Invezma for older patients. But it's basically still a form of the same kind of gene replacement approach. So no worries, Zolgensma isn't going anywhere. It's more like it's getting a new sibling in the treatment family rather than being replaced. It's all about giving more tailored options for different age groups and different patient needs.
Okay, that clarifies it. And that makes sense because Zolgensma, along with Invisma, if you have not yet seen that episode will be released on the 26th, which is Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you want to see that episode, by the time you see this episode, it will be Friday. So if you want to hear more about that new medication, that new medical treatment breakthrough within the SMA community, tune into Wednesday's video, which is titled "What is Invisma?" You won't miss it. And so that's why it's throwing me off, because Zolgensma is primarily treated for individuals who are 2 years and younger, which is infancy. And compared to the new medication, it literally operates nearly the same as Zolgensma, except it's treatable for teens and adults, which is really, really cool. So the next one, it says SMN2 modifying drugs. 2 other drugs work by modifying the backup SMN2 gene to produce more functional SMN protein. So Spinraza is an antisense oligonucleotide administered via intrathecal injection into the spinal fluid on a recurring basis, which is a lumbar puncture. And Risdiplam, which is Evrysdi, is the first and only oral medication for SMA, making it a less invasive option for ongoing treatment.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown. So just to sum it up, we've got these different approaches now. Zolgensma, or its new variant for older patients, is that one-time gene therapy infusion. And then on the other side, we have these SMN2 modifying drugs. So Spinraza is one of them. It's given through a lumbar puncture, and that's done on a regular basis to help boost the amount of functional protein. And then you have Evrysdi, which is a daily oral medication, which a lot of families find more convenient because you can just take it at home. So it really offers a less invasive option for ongoing treatment. And all of these together are just giving a whole lot more flexibility and hope for people with SMA.
In the future of SMA care, I am really feeling under the weather. The future of SMA care, ongoing research is focused on further improvements and new approaches. Combination therapies, researchers are exploring the use of multiple treatments in combination to achieve the best possible patient response, especially for those diagnosed later in life. That's actually really, really cool. So combination therapy, so is that talking about including mixing up, say, Spinraza and the new medication, Invinsma, for example?
Yeah, you got it. That's pretty much what combination therapy means in this context. Researchers are looking at ways to use more than one treatment approach together, like maybe combining Spinraza with Invezma or with Evrysdi to see if they can get an even better outcome, especially for people who might have been diagnosed a little later in life and might need a more tailored approach. It's all about finding the best mix to give each patient the best possible response. So yeah, it's a really exciting area of research.
That's actually really cool. It's, combination therapies. That's actually going to be a significant breakthrough. That's something I personally think I would be willing to try out. Muscle targeting therapies. Clinical trials are underway for drugs such as, I can never say that, they have like some really interesting names, which is apatigromab. I'm not even gonna hurt myself here. That target muscle strength directly. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me backtrack. Clinical trials are underway for drugs such as apatigromab that target muscle strength directly, potentially complementing the existing gene-focused therapies. ChatGPT, how do you say that word? Because it'll drive me crazy if I do not know.
Yeah, those names can definitely be a mouthful. That one's pronounced apatigromab. And you're absolutely right. These muscle targeting therapies are pretty exciting because they add another layer. So while the gene therapies fix the root cause, these muscle targeting drugs can help strengthen muscles directly. So it's all part of that bigger picture of making life better for people with SMA.
It says diagnosed health technologies. If I cannot pronounce a word, I'll do it on my own time, but I'll have to figure out how to pronounce it. Digital health technologies, wearable sensors, and at-home assessments are being integrated into care plans, allowing for real-time monitoring and personalized adjustments for treatments. What exactly does it mean? So it says wearable sensors and at-home assessments are being integrated.
Yeah, absolutely. So what that basically means is that technology is making it possible for people with SMA to use things like wearable devices and simple tools at home to keep track of how they're doing. So instead of having to go to a clinic all the time, doctors can get real-time data right from these wearables or HAM assessments and adjust treatments on the fly. It's kind of like having a personalized health dashboard that helps keep everything tailored to what the patient needs in real time. So it's a really cool step towards more personalized and flexible care.
That's actually really cool because now you're going to be able to collect more data. I don't know about the type of technology they're using or what they're currently in the works. This is the first time hearing about that. So digital health technologies, I'm going to have to look into that. Stay tuned for future episodes because we will discuss and talk about this. So I wonder if by incorporating wearable sensors at home for SMA patients, individuals, I wonder if they're going to be able to also calculate the mobility and physical functions, physical activeness, I would call it. So they can see, okay, how is the medication benefiting these SMA individuals? Are they?
I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
That's fine. I'll start it up in a second. And it says, and where I'm going with that is I wonder, like, as you start taking the medication, if they're going to see and collect data in terms of, the right arm movement is showing improvement within this past week, compared to the left arm movement. I wonder if they're going to be able to collect data in that aspect. That's actually really cool, though. We will definitely make a video talking about that. So it says prenatal treatments. It says a pioneering approach involving administering ridazepam to a baby in Uterio has shown remarkable success, highlighting the potential for even earlier intervention strategies. And okay, we'll end ChatGPT here. That's fine. That's actually really cool though. So it says a pioneering approach involving administering risdiplam, which is Evrysdi, to a baby in Uterio has shown remarkable success. So what this means is that there was an individual there was a SMA baby, a baby with SMA in Uterio, which showed remarkable success, highlighting the potential for early intervention for intervening early on with SMA. So pretty much like I mentioned in previous episodes, where I even think in the beginning of this episode as well, where, when you catch medication early on, or not medication, but when you catch SMA early on, you're able to treat it fairly quickly. And by doing so, you mitigate the likelihood of the progressiveness of the lack of communication with your SMN protein from progressing to a point where it's hard to manage. By essentially intervening extremely early on, you're able to say, hey, these signals exist, let's strengthen them while we still have a much greater fighting chance. And here, I think, which is why it's highlighting the potential for even highlighting the potential that earlier intervention, is showing remarkable success. This is a very fascinating episode. Again, we definitely have to. I'm gonna highlight that so I know. I'm gonna have to look into that digital health technologies, I believe it's called. Yeah, digital health technologies, and make a video talking about that. That's very, very fascinating. I never heard about that. I know they're incorporating technologies within the SMA community, but I didn't know at what scalability they were doing it at. This is really, really fascinating. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Forgive me again. I'm feeling under the weather. I woke up feeling under the weather today, and I really want to create content, stay consistent with my daily uploads, especially on this YouTube channel. And today is currently November 25th, but you won't see this until November 28th. And but yeah, so I'm feeling under the weather, but I'm fine. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like the video, comment down below what you would like to see within future episodes, and subscribe if you are new. We are so close to reaching 100 subscribers just within this YouTube channel. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.